Hello, welcome to Teens and Twenties with Peace Negumote. If you're just joining me for the first time, it's good to have you here. And I must assure you that on this channel, there's so much value to gain. There's so much to learn. And Teens and Twenties is the place where I get to share my lessons and the things that I wish I did as a teenager or in my twenties. And you know, sharing them helps me know that other people in their teens or in their twenties or even in their thirties are going to benefit from the things that I wish I did or I knew earlier. So welcome to my channel. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can always get a notification whenever we post on Thursdays. And do not forget to like this video, make a comment if it resonates with you. So let's get into what we have for today. Right, so today I want to share something I consider really important for every young person. And to be honest, this subject is not just for young people alone, even adults, like older people, elderly people need this subject. And many times we skip some parts of our lives and then we hope to just get past life just like that. And I believe that things do not really work that way, that we need to structure our lives, we need to be more intentional about our self awareness. We need to be more intentional about how well we know ourselves and how who we are affects every other thing that we do. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a few ways that you can build your personal value. So I usually conduct interviews sometimes. Yeah, I work in a place where I am privileged to interview applicants. Yeah, I'm privileged to interview people who submit their applications and all of that. And one of the questions that I usually ask many times is, what are your personal values? And to be honest, you'll be shocked that a lot of people do not even understand the question, let alone be able to answer the question. So that tells you that a lot of people don't even know that there's something called personal values and they do not even have personal values. So I'm sharing this today because I believe that values are things that guide every individual through life. If you've watched any of my videos before this time, you realize I talked about values a lot. When I talked about association, I talked about values. When I talked about mentorship, I talked about values. Because how do you want to relate with people without having personal values? How do you want to add value to the places where you work without adding values? How do you even want to become the person that you really envision without having personal value? So for me, this is why this subject is very important. What are values? What are personal values? So your personal values are your core beliefs, your driving force, your core beliefs, principles that drive you through life, that affects the way you think, the way you behave, the things you do. Those are your values. For example, um, I love to be respected. Okay, I love to be respected, so I value respect. Now, not just because I love to be respected, but because I believe that when people are respected, they give you respect in return. So because I do not like to be disrespected, I love to respect other people so they don't disrespect me in the process. You see, so that's one thing, that's one way to know what you value. I value my relationship with God. So many times before I make any decision, I tend to think thoroughly and ask myself, how would this impact on my relationship with God? How would this affect my relationship with God? Will it pull me closer to God, or will it push me further away from God? It's a question that I always ask myself. I value my personal growth. So for every time I get to plan my year, one of the things that you're always going to find is, how do I intend to grow this year? What areas do I want to grow this year? So for me, growth is one of my values. It's a driving force. It affects the things I do. It affects the way I behave. So some time ago, I got this job offer. Right, it wasn't juicy. I wouldn't even say it wasn't really juicy. It wasn't juicy, and yeah, as of then, my husband was a friend. And I was talking about her like, why are you even accepting this thing? I said, well, I'm accepting it not because of the amount, but because I believe that I'm going to grow. Like this job will give me the opportunity to grow in certain areas, and that's why I'm taking it. So whenever I need to consider certain things, I do not even put money in front many times, because if I did put money in front, there are many things I won't be doing. But I realize that there are some opportunities that may not give you money, but they will give you growth, they will give you stability, they will give you understanding and all of that. And for me, that was it. So I just shared a few of the things I value. And my question for you is, what do you value? What are your values? What are your values? What are the things that drive your decisions? What are the things that drive your habits? What are the things that drive your relationships? What are the things that drive your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors? Because if you do not define these things, then you're definitely gonna have issues. Trust me, you're definitely gonna have issues as a person navigating life. So a few ways, how do you build your personal values? How do you build these values? How do you create these values for yourself? First of all, you need to ask yourself, you need to sit down with yourself. This is something that a lot of people do not know how to do. A lot of young people just want to be everywhere. Today they are in this event, the next day they are in the other event, the next day they are out somewhere, they are hanging out with this place, they're with this other person. They're just everywhere. And many times life would require you to just down, sit down and have a meaningful conversation with yourself. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to sit down. Now, when you sat down, what do you do next? You need to ask yourself, where am I going? Who am I becoming? What do I want to become? Who do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to live? Yes, you need to ask yourself that question. Who am I? Where am I going? What kind of life do I want to live? And who do I need to become to get there? What are the things do I need to know or I need to do to get to that place? That's the second question you want to ask. And then the third thing that you want to do is look around you. Who are the people who have gone there, who are, walking the path that you want to walk? What's their lifestyle like? What are the things they value? Many of them, you realize they value integrity, they value growth, they value loyalty, they value excellence. And then you want to ask yourself, okay, so if these are the things these people value, it means that it's actually these things, actually these characteristics that have brought them this far to where they are. So there are some things I can definitely emulate. So what do you want to do next? This should be the fourth thing, I believe. Yeah. So what do you want to do next? You want to outline those values, write them down. What are those values that you think every successful person, everybody going that's path, walking that route that you want to take should have? Write those things down. Okay, value number one, excellence. Value number two, growth. Value number three, loyalty. Value number four, respect. Value number five, God first. Value number six, you outline those things. And when you have outlined those things, now this is time for you to be introspective. This is time for you to be more self aware. Ask yourself, which of these things have actually driven my life so far? Which of these things have actually determined how I've been living, the way I've been thinking, the things I've been doing, the decisions I've been making? You're going to ask yourself those questions. Now, when you ask yourself those questions, you realize that sometimes even the things you say you value, you don't value them like that. Because how do you know the things you actually value? Your decisions over time, your thoughts over time, your beliefs over time. Those are the things that actually tell you what you value. So when you sit down and ask yourself these questions, the last time I said I really value my relationship with God, but this decision I made, show like person will value relationship with God. Yes, that's when you realize that you don't really value your relationship with God. So is that something that you think you should value? Maybe yes, If you think you should value your relationship with God, then that tells you that you need to work on that. So that's one way to build your personal value. You've discovered, oh, I need to have a relationship with God. I need to base my life, my decisions, my actions, everything on this particular value. So what do you do? Work on your relationship with God. That's how a lot of people become better. That's how you develop yourself positively. So you need to get to that point where you sit down, ask yourself questions, look at the people who have gone ahead of you, draw inspiration from them, learn what they are doing that you need to start learning, and then outline those values. Begin to connect the dots, ask yourself, and then decide, today I am going to build this value. What do I need to learn about loyalty? Go and learn. What do you need to learn about loyalty? Learn it. And then after that, start taking the necessary steps, start taking the necessary action. So I've learned about loyalty, and I know that a loyal person is loyal whether in the presence of whoever they are loyal to or not. They make sure that at every point in time they are faithful. Nobody's in doubt of their loyalty. They are present, dependable, available. That's a loyal person. So you ask yourself, in what ways can I become more dependable? In what ways can I become more reliable? In what ways can people begin to trust me? In what ways can I begin to, deliver value to other people? You ask yourself those questions, and then you begin to work on yourself step by step, step by step, step by step. As you begin to practice these things, you begin to embody them, they begin to become part of you. And over time, you just realize that this is what I stand for. This is whom I've become, or this is whom I'm becoming. And this is where I am going. This is the journey I am taking. And of course, this value that I've picked up is definitely going to get me there. Do you understand? Yes, I believe you understand. And that's basically what it is. It's that simple. But then my pastor said something recently, and I quite agree with him. Many times people say they value certain things, but they do not really value them like that. Let me give you an instance. So, somebody tells you, I value my faith, I value my spirituality, I value my relationship with God. Maybe a lady tells you this, and this same lady, you find out that she's dating somebody who is an unbeliever. And then when you ask her, like, oh, the guy is nice, he's lovely, he doesn't have issues, he doesn't even have a problem with me praying and going to church and all of that. Now, the problem is not the fact that this lady doesn't really value God. Maybe she values God in her own way. She values her faith, she values her spirituality in her own way. But there's something called value system. The same person who values this thing may not value it as much as me. For me, I am good before I'm even going to say yes to you, before I'm even going to say, oh, let's hang out. I am also going to consider, do you believe in God as much as I believe in God? Are you willing to go all out for Him as much as I am willing to go all out for Him? If you are not, then we cannot be yoked together. Do you understand? We can have a cordial relationship, but we can't be dating. But this other person, her her need for relationship and love, care, niceness, and the rest of them. By the way, niceness is not the fruit of spirit. So her need for all of that is placed above her her need for spirituality or spiritual stability. So that's her value system. So another thing you need to consider is on your value scale, which comes first, which comes next. What are the things that are more important to you? So you need to talk about priorities. What are your priorities when you talk about values? And those things would actually help to shape the person that you're becoming. I believe you got value from this. Type in the comment section to let me know what your take homes are. And yes, do not forget to like, do not forget to share this video to as many as would need it, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for being part of today's episode of Teens and Twenties. Until I come your way again, I have something very, 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 very important to share in my next video. So watch out for it. Bye.